Welcome everybody to the Latin Nerds Network. My name is Jose and this is my review for Wolfman. Of course, the newest reimagining or reboot or whatever of a classic horror character directed by Lee Wyman, who directed another reimagining of a horror character, of course, The Invisible Man. And I really liked that film. It was a big surprise when that came out. Very modern, unique take on that particular character. So I was hoping to see some of that here. This more looked like more of a kind of a straightforward kind of horror film, monster film or whatever you want to call it. This one here, of course, it's still based off of Wolfman lore, if you will, in its own way. It's all based about, I guess, someone, a hitchhiker back in '95 who went missing, and there's a legend going around that he contracted a disease or whatever the case is, known, I guess, translated form into the face of the wolf, something along those lines. As what he was known for, this legend, right? This mysterious creature out in the woods somewhere. And, we have here, at the beginning of the movie, you have introducing this father and son. The father who, unbeknownst to the son, is actually trying to hunt this creature down. He's very militant, is trying to help his son and be kind of a survivor, right? After that quick introduction into that kind of world, time jumps 30 years later. The kid's now, he's grown up, has his own family, of course. His wife, played by Julie Garner, who's great. Ozark, Inventing Anna, both on Netflix, really good shows. She's great in them. So they, I guess the father went missing, apparently you find out later, and he's now officially pronounced dead. So now he decides to take his family to Oregon, where his old father's farm was, to kind of collect the belongings and kind of, bring closure to that part of his life. But of course, they went into this creature out there, which we all know is a wolfman, I guess, a werewolf, if you will. And we've seen the trailers. We know he gets, bitten or scratched or whatever by this werewolf-like creature, and he himself begins to turn into a werewolf himself. And now, of course, his wife and kid are now in danger, and they must survive that. So that's kind of the basic premise of the film. Listen, overall, it was alright. It didn't quite have. Well, it didn't quite what I was. Didn't quite what I was particularly looking for. Listen, with the horror films, because this is a very simplistic story, right? It's very straightforward. I gave you it is what it is, and that's it, right? Something like Invisible Man had a lot more to it, I thought, which is okay because as a horror film, as long as the horror elements are there, everything else you kind of forgive, right? Or don't really care as much. So from that standpoint, this is what this movie I thought lacked as far as the horror elements. There's a few jump scares here and there. It's a very kind of a slow burn after a cool intro. I think the last 20 minutes you actually see the werewolf or werewolves, and apparently there's more than one out there. And so it takes its time getting there. The main focus is on the family and, them obviously surviving the initial attack by this werewolf. And now, he, as he gets, scratched or whatever, he himself slowly becomes that. But again, it's just missing that punch where this should have, the kind of frights and the thrills. Moments here and there, some jump scares here and there, but not enough for me to say this is a true horror flick. But the movie is still well made, and it's okay, it's fine. Like the dynamic of the family, like the little girl, with relationship with the father that plays a big key as far as what the film ends up doing. Although it doesn't quite hit that emotional punch, that tragic punch I think this movie was going for. I don't think that was real executed. The attempt was there, and I can applaud that, right? The werewolf or whatever you want to call it, Wolfman or whatever he is, the look of it is unique. It's not what you expect out of a movie like this. When you think werewolves, you don't get that great transformation scene per se. It's very slow and it takes its time doing so. But it does add, one thing that really stood out was this perspective of the father as he's becoming this wolf or whatever he is. I keep saying werewolf or wolf because you kind of see what he's seeing, right? And what he's hearing or not able to understand, and himself thinking what's going on as he's kind of descending to this creature. So I like that perspective, and you get to see through his eyes what's going on, what he sees. That was really well done. That was really cool. That was a nice little touch to this. I wish there was even more of that in the film, to be honest with you. But overall, it was okay. I think this movie's gonna have its fans, but overall, it's a January film, so it doesn't surprise me. But not a bad one. Just not. I don't think I found it very exciting. The emotional punch just didn't quite hit. Few moments here and there make it somewhat enjoyable, and I think it's not a movie I regretted watching. It's one I'm probably gonna forget that I saw in about a month or 2 months from now. Like, oh yeah, Wolfman, I kind of remember that. so it doesn't really stick with you. Didn't have that nothing near. So a huge step down for Wyman in terms of directing from Invisible Man to this. So overall, I honestly does not have enough scares for me to recommend to go into theaters, but it's okay enough to watch at home. Distract yourself when that comes out eventually on streaming. That's the best I can really tell you, because overall, I think it was not a bad film, but this a disappointing one at the end of the day. So that said, Wolfman, you're gonna watch it. If you do, comment below. Let me know what you guys think about it. Maybe you guys love it, enjoy it, and I hope you do. And of course, if you haven't done so already, subscribe below and feed money to go to the movies and talk about it afterwards. See you guys next time.